welcome to this video. Thanks for tuning in. Let's do a little flow. I'm just going to go into a little inflow kind of message to share with everybody. And as we tune into these higher aspects of ourselves, as we tune into our higher self, as we tune into the higher cellular connection that we are all establishing within our own domains, within our own dominions, if you will, no longer running around as the minions that have been kept within a cycle of time that is no longer expressing itself in the same way. Therefore, many of us are being invited to change our own inner expression, to change based on the inner expression that is expressing itself out. For that which has been pressed out, that which has been impressed upon, has woven an artificial architecture that many of us have felt encased and held within. Yet this is no longer the case. We are being invited to look at our own inner reflection, that which is reflecting from the inner to outer, to show us what is reflecting back to us in our new environment. And for those who have not seen the truth before, the truth about who they are and who they were, that which has been indoctrinated into their vocabulary, therefore, that which they have been telling themselves, that which they have been creating in their reality, those that are seeing this new truth, those that are seeing through the first time with eyes to see, will be surprised. Their mental vocabulary may need some fine-tuning, may need some adjustments. And for those who are here that are already part of that adjustment bureau, so to speak, those that have been perhaps burrowed in our own self-alchemy, in our own ability to stay in a space of stability, stabilizing the frequencies that we are all adjusting to, we are being invited to hold this compassionate truth so that others can unfold without the fear of being told that they are, I'm seeing so much, crazy, wrong, not handling it the right way. For within this point of view, many that are stuck in this mental point of view, they feel as if they are going mental. Their vocabulary is shifting. So when I say vocabulary, a lot of the words I use are codes. So it's literally like coding into a computer. A vocabulary is a set of letters that creates a bandwidth, that creates an understanding within our cellular makeup, but it's also the vocabulary of like the DNA, right? The codons hold a certain alphabet, if you will, and I refer to us as the alphabet soup. And so many of us are changing the way that we communicate, not only with each other, but with our bodies. And I mentioned in the other video yesterday about the brain changing. So this is going to cause a mental instability for some. And this mental instability will only be a temporary displacement, if you will. And those that can see and sit with this and allow for the space, the new spacement, the new encasement, the new plays to come forward. This is a play like literally like creations, realities, expressions. The more we hold space for this, the easier it will be to keep on the same higher trajectory of human expansion. And as we allow ourselves to fall away from that which we have fallen into in the past, as we allow ourselves to step out of the old display of the old cast, the old cast and crew, if you will, the old cast and crew system that is in the, I'm hearing the old hue. It's like the old colors, the old everything. We start to recognize from this new expanded point of view, we begin to recognize that our mathematical composition is changing its focus, is changing its focus, is changing its focus. So it's like this. It's like 1 minute it's this and the next minute it's that. And these are choice points that we are essentially feeling into the field. When I say mathematical composition, I'm being guided to talk about this for a moment. So I literally see us mapping into a set of scales. Now we could play with this and go in so many different directions. Scales as in Libra, scales as in balancing things out. But I'm hearing harmonic scales. So what this means to me is we're literally playing in a different harmony. Our different tunes are accessing a different tonality, and I've talked about this before. But this is happening in groups. So it creates a collective up-leveling of symphonic resonance. This symphony is then displayed back to us as a resonance. So it's that ping, it's that whale sonar, right? We are the song line directors is what I'm hearing. So in this new course of direction, we tune into the new chords that are harmonizing within our own vocal, vocabulary, focal, local point of reference. So what this looks like is it's literally like creating places on a map. So what do they use to create maps? Or what do you use to draw out you sacred geometry buffs, you know what I'm talking about. It's basically we're creating this. So everything is mathematical, everything is musical, everything is sound. So sound holds a certain frequency, which holds a different note, which holds a certain harmonic. And each individual harmonic is tuning into each other, and we're all becoming these massive tuning forks. But this is also happening inside the earth, and this is tipping the scales. So what this means is I'm hearing scalar wave recognition. I'm hearing scalular resonance, remembrance. So we're remembering these deeper codes, these deeper tones, these deeper frequencies, and we're communicating them with each other. And again, this is a video I'll do this week later about the brain and what I was writing about. It becomes more of a collection of sound frequencies that then allow us to access a deeper relevancy for this time period, if you will. Wow, that's all a play on words. So when I say relevancy for this time period, if you will, I'm just going to go back and write this up and then explain it that way. For the relevancy is based on the relevancy of where we are now. For what was relevant, and I'm seeing a dancer in releve, like dipping down and doing these releve movements. What we used to dance to, what the tunes were that inspired us, PHI, that brought us to a higher frequency before, are no longer transmitting the same codes, for we are no longer transmuting through those same nodes. Those have become mutable in one sense. We are muting them out, for they are muted colors. Their frequency and hues are not the vibrancy that is now within and held within our new transcription. For our transcription, our higher emboldened, what's it called, italics, so when you capitalize something, our script, our new emboldened script is creating this deeper, I'm seeing a more fluid, new language pattern within our bloodstream. And this causes this heat to rise, and the heat signature frequency is then expressed through a different and new set of eyes. For we see at a different performance rate. We see at a higher rate of expenditure, if you will. We step into a different adventure and an entirely new landscape. For the domain that we were placed in before was a dominion, if you will, for a lower score. This is all play on words, vocabulary, score, music, note, mathematics, geometry. And for those that still feel the need to settle a score, we play with this for a moment. For we are being invited to close one door, to move in through the next corridor and set of dominions and landscapes that are being offered, that are unfolding, that we are unfolding into, rather than closing down our door, if you will. Play on words. I'm going to go into that a little deeper when I write it down. So I'm literally seeing the door on this, like, so much. For we set into these nodes and collaborations and calibrations within a new frequency dynamic set. And the way in which we interact with our body has upscaled. And so we are scaling up the harmonics, if you will, and it is not necessary to keep the old score. It is not necessarily to settle, if you will. For when you settle for something, when you settle it in one perspective, you are lowering the frequency board. Yet if you settle into and allow that flow to disrupt the patterns of disruption, I'm thinking of someone I used to speak with who I called her the disruptor of disruption. We disrupt the patterns that were recorded into our specification of our geomantric, big play of words, geomantric, I'm hearing geomocracy. We disrupt that which was created to scatter our array. We move into a new code of existence, and this new code vibrates at a higher existential awareness, an exuberant, light-focusing molecular sound breaks through the barrier of all that we hear, see, do, access, and move into. For we are the harmonizers. We are the harmony in realization. We are harmonizing in real time. And as we move up into these higher frequencies of elation, we allow that which we are connecting into, holding a relationship with. We allow that which we are seeing ourselves, setting ourselves, hearing ourselves, moving into relationship with, to expand with us, to change the chords that the entire universe was built upon, for we are building it now. Therefore, the noise that was loud, the noise that was loudly occupying our focal canals, play on words, I'm hearing ocular, focal, focalization, vocal canals, and I'm seeing brain canals and all of these canals that we're going into, and that's a play on words as well. For as we allow ourselves to move through that which we are drifting into right now, I'm hearing, what's the song by the Drifters? And I'm hearing a lot of different songs right now. We're docking in, sitting on the dock of the bay. Okay, I was a little off on that one, but I'm hearing all kinds of songs come through, like all these different songs, but we're docking into the station. But essentially, we're also not just docking into the station, it's like it's more fluid. And as we dip into these different frequencies and we hold this higher resonance, this higher tune, if you will, we then are able to map into, access into, to remember and see the new weaving that we have already done. We begin to see different codes. We begin to make new discoveries that were previously covered up by the sound academy, if you will. The sound dichotomy. I'm seeing a split, I'm seeing scattering, like the noise that was not allowing us to dock in. We would get really close and then we would bounce over here. And then we would get really close and then we would move over here. And I'm hearing dock distractions. And then we are able to fully interact with this in our new way of interacting. We are then able to extract from, pull from this higher subset of vocabulary geometric enhancements for our inner landscape is going through a serious series of enhancements, if you will. And as we allow ourselves to, I'm hearing all hands on deck, stay in this field of compassionate expression, we feel the passion rise up from within. That which has been accumulated, that which has been attributed, that which we have attributed to this crysted expansion and expression. Yet this is pure light in form, and this is pure sound that is informing us. I'm hearing informer. For our informants, our information, and this is all a play on words too, like I'm seeing ants working together, working as a community, working in communionship, if you will, to steer the ship, the earth vessel, our vessels, all working in unification with one another to assist us in re-accessing, re-accelerating, play on words. I'm seeing an Excel spreadsheet changing a complete, I'm seeing, what's it called with math? They're called magic squares. I'm seeing that completely change. And if you look at somatics, is that how it's pronounced? Soundmatics. I subscribe to a lot of different people on Instagram that present this. Cymatics, think of Dr. Masaru Emoto, the frequency of sound, and the shapes that we're producing are essentially literally a production score. We're literally creating the fabric and shifting so it's like we couldn't see it before. So when you're down here and you're vibrating at a certain speed, you have to get up this speed, is what I keep hearing. Speed into the new sound, right? So there's been things all around us that we just haven't been able to see. What's that movie? Have you guys ever seen Midnight Special? It's a cool movie. And I'm not going to give it away because it's worth watching, I think. And at the end, I'm just like, really? Yeah, of course. I know, that kind of left you hanging, but you'll just have to watch it to know what I'm talking about. It's an older movie. For the glasses have been removed. The glass encasement has been opened. That which was held within the proverbial glass coffin, if you will, has been released. We are no longer held within a particular nursery rhyme. We are no longer held within a particular fable. For we have opened up the mathematical tables and we are turning the tables on a dime. We are turning the tables on, and this has to do with our value system, how we value, what value is, what monetary sequencing means. I'm seeing this like, yeah, so much. I'm hearing, I'm coming up. I want the world to know. And as we move in this from the underworld, if you will, up out into the expansive world that we have all had access to, yet many have ignored or not been able to really feel into, we are recognizing that this is the new. This is the new spectrum in which we are creating. This is the new schematics that we are unfolding into. And while a baseline frequency has been set, for we have done this many times, if you will, I'm hearing many times tables, infinitely, if you will, we invite you to see more into the now moment, for you are accessing a deeper potentiality of connection to the source frequency and the codes that are held within the true nature of our existence. So what this means is we are accessing through our own nurturing of our nature. For human nature is not what we have been told. And again, I'm seeing this reference to fairy tales of old. So I was trying to think of fairy tales, like those held bits of information that were meant to activate and stimulate our own inner knowing. Yet those were also created based on an old landscape. And so we are capable of so much more than we have been taught. And as we see through this at a higher resolution, we are able to hone in on our deeper resolution, becoming the solution for what it was that we perceived as I'm hearing like when you solve a problem, but it's like a mathematical problem that I'm seeing being solved. But of course, this is all connected. For what was taken perhaps away from us at one point, from one perspective, from one point of view, or dumbing down, if you will, has been gifted back to us, has been returned to us, for we have returned ourselves to it. We are returning home, if you will. We are remembering our home-based frequency and our own structure. For as we step out of what we have been molded into, we break the patterns that kept us from accessing these deeper vibrational tunes, and we break through the structures that may have been placed within our field, within our bodies, within our feelings. We break through. I'm seeing we vibrate and crack through, and that just gets dissolved. And many of us are recognizing that we are capable of this. We are capable of finding the compatibility that allows us to break through the encasement, to break through what it is and the reality concepts that have been blasted at us for eons. And this we are now blasting through. For this plastic facade cannot hold us anymore. And our inner plasticity, our inner elasticity is what is breaking through the mold that we have created in our old reality. For we are no longer forced into complacency from one perspective, although from another, we never were forced. We were the force that was seeing through an I or a C of complacency. And we break through this need to blame a particular anarchy or unavailability or inaccessibility that was created through I'm seeing like a resiliency of domination and control. Like it's a particular domain, subset, right, if you will. And that may have existed, and it may be in the process of dissolving, and it may be in the process of being integrated and broken down. Yet we move into a new way of becoming. That which it is that we seek to dissolve. Like, why are we stepping into this? We're already there. So it's not about why, who, what, when, how, although that is part of what we're experiencing or learning or remembering. It's why, who, what we are, if that makes sense. So it's like, they did this, they did that, we had this was false, okay. But what are we? It's like that, it's the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. Who am I? It's what's his face from Zoolander? Who am I? It's basically why And I've talked about this before, because we are magical creative beings. So now we're like, hey, wait a minute, I could do that. Oh, wait a minute, I can tap into that knowledge too. And all of a sudden, all of that becomes less relevant from one perspective. And when we make something less relevant to us, right, we no longer need to give it power. We no longer need to give it this focused intention that keeps it moving. It literally puts a hold on it, and we then accept it as part of what was, and we work through it, and we're just like, yeah, that's here, but I'm here now, and not in a hierarchy way. And that's where I'm hearing people are getting stuck up in, like I'm seeing like stuck up, like people that are stuck on, stuck up. I'm better than that. It's like that's an entrapment as well. So there's all these other entrapments that we've basically created to move through, but so much is happening that if we can just kind of let that go, from one perspective, some people are choosing to still understand that and have that experience, and that's their choice in this free will. I'm hearing continuity. As we connect in with the fabric that we are all weaving together, as we connect in with this new dance, I'm hearing releve, dance of space-time, we allow ourselves to clock out of time for I'm seeing Dali with the clocks, the surrealism. For our reality is completely, I'm hearing melting. I'm hearing again a sea of plasticity. For it can no longer support the humanity, the higher humanity, the hue, the new colors, the new sounds are rattling the cages that have kept us encased. I'm just seeing enstoned, and I'm seeing this has a lot to do with guilt. Like I'm seeing a reference to people that put themselves in cages and were throwing stones at themselves, like shame, right? Game of Thrones, shame, because they felt like they needed to do that in order to pay for the sins of others. And I'm feeling that's their choice. They have the choice to do that, and some people will choose to do that until that's what they want to do. Create their own hell from one perspective. But help is here if we choose to recognize, I'm hearing, you've got a friend. So cool. As I'm basically seeing, we have these helpers. If you guys have ever seen Labyrinth, helping hands. What are the helping hands? But you can choose to go down or you can choose to go up. Either way, we're going to help you move in either of those directions. Because you are, as I love what Andrew Barks says, you are the standing DNA light body nation of one. I love that line in general. But just saying that, I am the standing DNA light body nation of one. It's like, so many layers to just that one sentence, right? If you guys are interested in going back, I read his revocation out loud on one of my videos. It's very empowering, and it's just fun to play with words to help break up the old vocabulary subsets, the old vocabulary. Again, I'm hearing the word geomantics, antics, antiquities. So these are lost expressions that we are tapping into. This is mathematical properties that have always existed and been available to us, yet we couldn't quite build them because we were basing it on a foundation that was false or perhaps not able to support the higher, I'm hearing communication, sounds, technology. Again, we couldn't put the two together because we were basing it on Newtonian physics and some of the concepts of Einstein and Tesla, but essentially there was missing components to all of that. And we are the key. we are the missing components. For as we open and we increase our vibrancy, we increase our accessibility to the knowledge that's in this entire think tank. Now, when I say this, I've been getting a lot of references to the shark, and I'm going to probably share a video on this, but the shark is a very electric being. It moves through the waters and it works through these electrical stimulations and vibrations that help it really be in tune with its environment. And I keep getting this reference to we are the sharks, we are the whales, we are the dolphins. So they're already a higher vibrational form that is sharing the earth with us now. And we're finally stepping up to the plate and moving into this higher vibrational form, and elephants as well. Well, all animals, but particularly with some of these ways of communication that nature has already been showing us, right? We all know about the golden spiral that's in the shells and Mother Nature. It's in everything. And we become this merge and this mold. I'm hearing mold breaker, and I'm hearing heartbreaker. Like we're breaking through this wedge that we've placed between our heart and the other pieces of us, because all of these things that we've gotten into the habit of doing, being, saying, feeling, I'm hearing The Cure. Pieces of you? I've been staring so long. Pictures of you. At these pictures, sometimes I just make up my own songs and words too. Pictures of you that I almost believe that they're real, right? So we believed in this stuff as real and we made it thus. And so now we're like, break on through to the other side. So I'm running out of time on this particular video, but I'm just going to end on that note. And we are the cure, right, for creating this new mapping system. And so many exciting things are here. We're just kind of in those beginning phases to kind of open up and see them, which is really cool. So, in love and light, guys. Namaste.